Hey y'all, and welcome back to Mahogany Homestead. So today I'm going to show y'all how I make my tallow two ways, okay? So for those who don't know, tallow is simply rendered fat. And for this video, I'm going to be using the fat from my cow that I recently had butchered. So my butcher is so kind to pretty much chop the suet up and put it in little packages for me. And I know some of y'all like the suet. Yeah, so the suet is the fat from around the kidneys and other organs of the cow, okay? And it makes some of the best tallow, I promise y'all. So I got about 20 pounds, okay? 20 pounds of suet that we're gonna prep and get ready to make tallow two ways. The first way is going to be for cooking, and the next way is going to be for skincare products and soap, okay? So come along with me and let me show you how. So tallow has a lot of nutritional value. Tallow is high in saturated fat, which helps your brain function, and it's also a good factor in your energy level. It contains vitamins such as A, D, E, and K, which is sourced from cows that are grass-fed. And my cow, of course, was grass-fed because I don't feed my family no junk, okay? So let's get started. We have these big pieces of suet. Big pieces of fat from around, you know, the organs and things. Now, some people take these big chunks and just go on and start. I don't. I make life just a little bit easier for myself by just chopping them down just a little more. And you don't have to chop them into little small pieces, but you want to chop them just big enough, you know, to kind of break down easier. So I do mine like this. I'm just gonna put it in a bowl. Okay. Now you can do so many things with tallow. You can fry foods with tallow. You can baste your food with tallow, especially like on the grill. Like if you are smoking a brisket or something, you could baste that brisket with that tallow. Oh my God. Talking about juicy and good, y'all. That's some good eating for real. We make some mop sauce. Well, I make mop sauce, let me say that. My husband used it. But the mop sauce I use also has just a little tallow in it. And I just feel like it just make our barbecue taste a little bit better. And the people who had our barbecue, they always like, y'all's barbecue tastes a little different. Like, something going on with this. And I'm like, yeah, it's seasoned good, but it's the mop sauce. Also, I want to warn y'all, making tallow is a process, okay? And if you don't have patience, I don't know, just go grab you some fast, okay? If you're planning on making it. Quality tallow takes patience, time, and a little effort, actually. This suet smells really good. Like, it actually has more of a sweet kind of smell to it. It don't really smell like a raw animal or something, you know? Like, it's kind of got a little sweet smell to it. So in our house, we try not to waste any parts of the animal, y'all. We really do use everything down to the bones, okay? I make little beef broth with my bones, okay? But the tallow is so moisturizing and so nourishing to the skin. I promise, if you switch, you won't go back. So the natural oil that's in the tallow it resembles the oil that our skin naturally produces. Sometimes your suet will still have a little meat on it. So I like to go on and cut that off because it's gonna take hours for this to render, and you don't want these meat pieces that's still stuck on the fat to burn during the process, because then it's like you just wasted your time. This year, I challenge y'all to swap the Crisco, swap the lard if you still using that, and try tallow. Give tallow a try and let me know how you like it, how it works out for you and your family. I've tried it once and I don't think I'll ever go back to anything else. If your family is the type to like to eat a lot of fried foods, yes, you can still fry your food in tallow. Now, my family, I don't cook a lot of fried food. We eat a lot of baked foods. If I have to fry it, it'll probably be air fried, but I just don't fry a lot of food. I may pan sear something, but of course, that's not using a whole lot of oil. So, one way you can cook your tallow is in the crock pot. Put all of your fat in the crock pot, let it do what it's gonna do, skim it off, and, container it up. Another way you can do it is on top of the stove, like what I'm gonna do today, because I'm showing y'all 2 different ways on how to do your tallow for 2 different purposes. So I'm gonna show you that on top of the stove, which I like on top of the stove too, because I feel like I can control it a little better. I could go in and kind of gauge my temperature how I want. I like on top of the stove better. Also, it's a good rule of thumb before you get started to let your tallow be at least room temperature. So it'll cut easier, it'll cut smoother for you. So yes, this is all of my beef tallow or beef suet that I have already cut up and prepped, and we're about to get ready to render it down, okay? Okay, y'all, so I'm back. And to a pot, you want to get a big pot out. I'm going to be adding about half of this suet to this pot to make cooking tallow. And yes, it is a difference. So with the cooking tallow, I'm not necessarily worried about the smell of it, because I'm gonna be cooking with it and I want it to have that good beef flavor to it, Only thing I'm gonna do to this one is just add my suet. And if you see little pieces in here that I missed, I'm just gonna take that out, okay? And that's about half right here. In my next pot, this black pot, I'm gonna add the rest of it, keeping the stove temperature on 3, because you want to kind of cook it low, okay? But to this pot, I'm gonna also add about 7 to 8 cups of water. This water is going to help process this tallow, and it's going to take that beefy smell out, and it's going to be a lot easier to work with as far as using it for skincare and using this for soaps. So you don't want to you know, walk around smelling like beef all day. So you want to render it down with some water and a little bit of salt. Let me grab me some salt. I really don't measure, but you want to do about maybe 3 tablespoons of salt, y'all. And that's just going to help purify and process, clean out this suet to make it suitable for skincare products, okay? So, in this pot, we're making tallow for cooking. In this pot, we're gonna be making some tallow to make some soap and some skincare products, okay? Okay, so the suet has been cooking now for about an hour. And it's doing really well. And I actually got this, I want y'all to see it. I got it on low, y'all. I mean, like the notch right before low. And it is doing so well. So this is the pot, like I said, that I'll be using for my cooking tallow. And the only thing in here is the fat. Now this pot over here, I'll be using it for skincare and soap. And this is about 7 to 8 cups of water. I'm using it to process that beef smell out. Just purifying it a little more so I could use it for skincare products, y'all. And it's doing very well. Also, have it on the same temperature. Little notch right before low. And it is really cooking down. Okay, so this is what it looked like after about 3.5 hours. And after about 6 hours, I was ready to start skimming off the top, getting all that fat out of there. A good way to also skim it, you could just pour your fat through a colander and just let that your good grease go into the bowl, and you'll be ready to go. Shake off those excess pieces. Yep, just like this, and you'll be left with that liquid gold, y'all. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. Okay, y'all, I'm so excited. It turned out perfect. And no worries for those tiny pieces that's still at the bottom. Get you some cheesecloth in your funnel. And you're just going to layer those on top of each other, on top of that jar. And be careful. This stuff is hot. You will burn yourself if you are not careful, y'all. Just take some small spoonfuls and carefully place it into that funnel and let it strain out. It will work out. Just take your time. It's a process, but you're doing good so far. Okay, so at this point, I have jarred up the dry method tallow, and it made 1/2 gallon in a quart, and I mean, just a little bit more. So I'll probably start using this one first whenever I get ready to use it and go on from there. This is the wet method. This is the one that I made for skincare and soap. So your next step with this is to put this in the refrigerator. But because it's still hot, I'm going to let it kind of sit out for a few more hours before putting it in the refrigerator. And then in the morning, we'll go from there. In the morning, it's a few more steps before we can put it into the jars, okay? But it'll all be worth it in the end, okay? So see y'all in the morning. Hey y'all, and we are back. This is day 2 of making tallow, and I just want to show y'all what the dry method rendered down to yesterday. Let me see if I can hold them all. and then it was this one. So this is the cooking tallow. That's what I call it. This had no water in it, okay? So this is what it made, y'all. Pretty good, right? Okay. So yesterday we ended with me putting the wet method tallow into the refrigerator, and it did relatively well. My paper towel had got stuck right here, but I'm gonna get it off. But it did very well in the refrigerator. So with the wet method tallow, it's so important that you make sure that all of the moisture was rendered out, because moisture brings about mold. So this is something natural. We're not adding any preservatives to it. So it's going to be very important that throughout this process, if we're about to do that, we are making sure that all of the moisture has been evaporated out. Okay? Okay. So now you should be able to just, oh yeah, press on it and lift it up like I just did. That was good. So depending on how long you let your fat render yesterday, when you lift up your fat today, you may have had some water. I let mine render down for about 6 hours yesterday. So most, if not all, of my water evaporated out yesterday. But we're going to make sure today, okay? So we're going to flip over. This is the rest of the beef fat that was in there that I didn't get out. So, and that's fine. I tried my best yesterday. I strained it 2 times. But you could just skim this part off. But you want to do it, you could do it light, because it shouldn't be too much. And because we added water to this, I'm going to let this melt down again. And that's just going to ensure me that all of the moisture was cooked out. And I'm not going to bother myself too much with making sure all of this come off, because I am going to strain it one more time using some cheesecloth. But we do a little prep work to make our life easier, right? So from here, you want to just cut it up. And I like to just cut mine in sections. Look at this. Ooh, that came out really good. Look at that, y'all. That's just one piece of it. We're gonna just break it up though. But some people, you don't have to let yours render for 6 hours like I did. You could do 4. You could do, you know, until your fat pieces turn somewhat brown. It just depends on your preference, you know. But for me, I like to let it render down long enough to get as much moisture out, because like I said, I will be making soap with this. I will be making body butters and other little skincare products with this batch of tallow, and we don't want to introduce mold because I'm not adding any type of preservatives to this. So when you have water, when you add water to natural products, it does give it an opportunity to bring about certain bacteria into your base product, and that's what you don't want. So it's important to make sure that all of the water has been evaporated out, okay? So now we're gonna get our pot, and I'm just gonna go on and put all of the tallow into the pot. And we're gonna let it melt down again on low. An indicator that is still a little moisture in your tallow is if you keep getting bubbles, little tiny bubbles. Like you'll get some, but you shouldn't get a lot. You'll get some just because of the heat, but you shouldn't get a lot. If you're getting a lot of tiny bubbles, you know you still got some moisture and you need to let it cook up just a little bit more. Yeah, you really can't, it doesn't have a smell. And that's what you wanted. Okay? All right. So, all of the tallow is in the pot. I'm gonna pop it on the stove on low, and we're gonna let it melt down. It shouldn't take no longer than about 30 minutes. That's depending on if I don't see any bubbles, okay? Okay, so this is what it's looking like after about 5 minutes. And as y'all can see, I got a few bubbles, not too many. And most of these are air bubbles, and they're popping as, you know, it heats up. So we're going to see what it looks like after about 10 minutes, okay? Okay, y'all, so this is what it looks like after about 10 minutes. And as you can see, we don't hardly have any bubbles. Really none at all. So we do have a few little fat particles at the bottom. I'm going to use some cheesecloth to strain that off. And we're done. We can now jar this up. Okay, y'all, we're back. I have my melted tallow, aka liquid gold is what some people call it. Got my funnel and cheesecloth. And we're going to get ready to just jar this up, okay? Set that right on top. And remember to take your time. This is hot. You could take small ladles and take your time with it, okay? You don't want to burn yourself. And doing it this way is going to get rid of all of those extra little small particles that was at the bottom of the pot. Okay, y'all, so that is all poured up, and these are very hot, so you want to be careful with them. So what I like to do now is get me a little paper towel and some white vinegar, and just kind of put a little bit on the paper towel and go around your rim. You want to make sure that this is clean, okay? Good and clean. And you want to do it while it's still hot so that the heat from this oil is going to help these jars to seal up. Help me out. Yeah, this helps a little bit. Because I couldn't touch it. Okay. And there you have it. You're going to let this sit up and cool off. Once it cools off, the color will change, y'all. It will look like this once it's cooled off, okay? It's so hot, oh my God. So yeah, cooking tallow, skincare tallow. And if y'all would like to see what I use and how I use the skincare tallow, just let me know. I do make soaps with it, body butters and other things like that. Just a lot of little cool little stuff for your body with this one. And I mean, it really does help, you guys. It's packed with a lot of nutrients and it's very moisturizing for your skin. So if that's something that you want to see, let me know. And until next time, bye you guys.